Hello, everyone. It's me once again, the existential designer. I like to come on and do posts about uh, my existential design charts and the word source from it, from which all things were able to be taken from design and then made into an objective reality for the existence and a dwelling um, within the existence of which we all live. And the notions of that versus the factors of reality. And of course, human beings are ignorant independence with allowed freedom, human independence, told just simply to be legal, don't be illegal. So, within that ignorance, there are false notions, misconceptions, and such. So I like to come on here and clear up those misconceptions, because ignorance is allowed and is almost expected with classified versus declassified. Huge notion, but that's on many levels. So, people are looking for the hints, looking for the clues, and then they have all these factors of reality that they might get confused with and think that's the origin when it's a factor of reality. Okay, and then, obviously people start searching, seeking, and start claiming things that are incorrect. And they could be led astray. And so, that's a notion why I like to do some of these posts to help clear up those ignorances and confusions. Also, it might help people who are getting attacked by, let's say, street hustlers doing acronym puns, and confusing people and leading them astray in order to get one over on them, screw them over, hustle them, do some crime. So today's topic, though, is ham. Okay, where's the word ham come from? People get confused, they got all these theories, all this stuff. Words don't come from acronyms. They come from my existential design chart, the word source on represented notions of the word source. Okay, there's a few exceptions in there, but they don't come from acronyms. Some acronyms you might get confused with ham on. High and mighty orders. Or the 8th and 13th Amendment. Oh, God, I'm scared of a jail hamburger. What else? Military hypocrisy. Military hazing. Oh, God, this could go on and on. Multi-hustles. Metaphorical hell. Okay, to name a few, you get the gist of the backronym theory here, right? Well, actually, the word ham, here is the existential design chart. 206 characters out of 676, and that's just how I organized it. I did that a long time ago. Okay, and there's the main word source portion. Okay, and that's where most of the words come from that main source. I have a different one. This shows some of the colorization on this one. But basically, when we're talking about ham, we're talking about this column of M versus this row of H. And those are the first free. The word freedom comes from the notion of where there are characters versus where there's not. Okay, and there's the 6 there, and then the 2, 3, 3, 2 on the 2 E's, and the notion of the original R, which is written backwards and rounded top. There's a 20 around on the 16. But this 16 here is the pork, the P in pork. There's the O and the R, and then the on the island statement of the kitchen stuff. And pork. Okay. And so those are the 2 there and 2 there of that P is the M and H. Okay. That's why it's a ham statement. It is HM over pork. Okay, so some other notions of food. I mean, it's everything. It's all the recipes, everything of the kitchen. There's the islands, the bend over the islands, and the OJ sinks versus the AB red, orange, and bathroom and overlapping realm statements of that. Then versus the OR overlapping realms of the word source. But then you get the OJ. Now, of course, fishing hooks and everything else. That's the cosmic astral plane, OJ, the blue gold cosmic astral plane, and then all the boat stuff. You know, that with Fant Dose is this next peak here for boat stuff. But anyway, other notions are the 3-3 and the 9-I, and then, of course, the H there, and then the row of K is the free there. Chicken. And the wing, peaks, and beak. Chicken. Of course, eggs come from this square here, which is yellow-white. And that's QH for the egg statement. You know, it's next to the money, pH stuff, and vegetation clouds and everything here, and saving money on the green-white. But, okay. And then, of course, beef. Okay, the 2 E's, the blue 2 sides there, and the F. The B is basically the F between the 2 E's. And then you get roast beef versus hamburger, and then steak, and then a filet mignon, and such. Okay, so that's all the recipes and ham and stuff like that. You know, when it comes to home, you know, then we're talking a different labeled, voted upon, labeled, and grouped category. Although it is in the kitchen with all that stuff. But home basically comes from, they only go to AL. That's a site successor, and then to LL. So you get your, let's say, Victorian examples versus contemporary mansions with the levels. Like difference there, the AL versus the LL. You know, other notions, area, location, latitude, longitude. Okay, that comes around main port there. But then the word source gets into like the stairs and the depth. And of course, the cosmic astral plane of the CAs use them planks instead of plane planks. And stuff like that. And of course, remember the H notion, which is also the human being notion. The 2 is 121U above the ground. And then the M, there, you know the flag of the United States of America. You know, the 3-3 starts at M. And then you got the 17-7, the orange blue, or the blue gold, and then the LL level, which in 5 back is, H to L's and neutrals, J column gold. 5 back from that top peak is the column of white. Well, 5 away. So stuff like that. So, well, I hope you get a gist of it, and that clarifies some ignorance you might have about ham.